Hello everyone, welcome back to this series on grammar. Today we are going to see about the third parts of speech, that is verbs. First let us see what is a verb. What is a verb? A verb is otherwise known as an action word. It is a word that describes an action or state. Example, I am learning my lessons. Here, I am learning is a verb. In the next sentence, the coffee is hot. Here, is the verb which describes a state, the state of coffee which is hot. And in the first example, I am learning my lessons. Here, I am learning is a verb that indicates the action of the subject. Now we are going to see about regular verbs. What are called regular verbs? Verbs that form their past tense and past participle forms by adding ed to their base forms are called regular verbs. Examples: laugh, laughed, laughed; play, played, played; wipe, wiped, wiped; develop, developed, developed. What are irregular verbs? Verbs that form their past tense and past participle forms in an entirely different way, or verbs that form their past tense and past participle forms in an irregular manner are called irregular verbs. Examples: buy, bought, bought; teach, taught, taught; catch, caught, caught; begin, began, begun; dream, dreamed, dreamt; dreamed, dreamt. Some verbs form their past tense and past participles by adding ed to their base forms and also in different ways. Such verbs are classified under irregular verbs. And the last example, dream, is an example of an irregular verb. The following is a list of verbs that do not change in the form of verbs. They do not change in the past tense and past participle forms. Cut, cast, hurt, hit, let, put, rid, shut, set, slit, broadcast, split, spread, telecast, thrust, upset, etc. These words have no change in their past tense and past participle form. Now we are going to see about finite verb. Verb that changes according to the subject or tense or modal verb are called finite verbs. Example: reads, read, will read, may read, can read, must read, etc. What are non-finite verbs? Non-finite verbs do not show a contrast of tense or number, that is the person. Some of the non-finite verbs are infinitives, gerunds, and participles. Examples: for infinitives we have to add to plus verb. Okay, infinitives. Examples: to play, to dance, to walk, etc. Gerund. Examples: playing, dancing, walking. We'll be adding ing to the base form of the verb. And participle, we have present participle and past participle, that is playing, played, then dancing, danced, walking, walked, etc. Linking verbs. Linking verbs join a subject to a subject complement which describes or identifies the subject. Some of the common linking verbs are am, is, are, was, were, become, appear, feel, look, etc. Example: he is a pilot. Here the word is a linking verb. She became a doctor. In this example, became is a linking verb. The third example, the children feel happy. Here feel is a linking verb. Now we are going to see about transitive verbs. Transitive verb is a verb that carries an object in a sentence. So the verb that carries an object in a sentence is called a transitive verb. Example, I bought a pen. In this example, a pen is the object of the verb bought. So it is a transitive verb. A pen is a transitive verb. In the second example, she is writing an essay. Here, an essay comes as the object of the verb is writing. And in the third example, he reads the newspaper every morning. Here, the newspaper is the object of the verb reads. So, the word newspaper here is a transitive verb. Then, a snake. So here the word read is a transitive verb here. So here the verb has got an object. So the verb read is a transitive verb. Then as the last example, a snake bit a cat. So here the verb bit has got an object, that is a cat. So the verb bit is a transitive verb. So transitive verb is a verb that carries an object in a sentence. Now we are going to see about intransitive verbs. A verb that does not contain an object in a sentence is called an intransitive verb. Example, the baby is sleeping. Here the verb is sleeping does not have an object in this sentence. Here the subject is the baby is sleeping verb, and the verb is sleeping does not have an object in the sentence. So it is an example of intransitive verb. And in the second example, the class ends at 4 p.m. Here also the verb ends does not have an object. The third example, they arrived on time. Here the verb arrived does not have an object. And the last example, she is preparing. Here the verb is preparing does not have an object. So the verbs that do not have an object in a sentence are called intransitive verbs. Now we are going to see about the two major classes of verbs, that is main verbs and auxiliary verbs. What are called main verbs? Main verbs are also known as lexical verbs, full verbs or ordinary verbs. They give clear meaning to the sentences. They can stand independently in sentences. Example, I like short stories. Here the word like is a main verb. And in the next example, he speaks Hindi well. Here the word speaks is a main verb. Next we are going to see about auxiliary verbs. Auxiliary verbs are otherwise known as helping verbs. They help the main verbs to form their tenses, voices, etc. There are two types of auxiliary verbs. They are primary auxiliaries and modal auxiliaries. First we shall see what is meant by primary auxiliary. Primary auxiliaries have be verbs, do verbs and have verbs. Under be verbs, the words am, is, or, was, were, be, being, been are included. Do verbs are do, does, did, doing, done, etc. Then have verbs are have, has, had, having. Example, I am a teacher. Am is an example of a be verb. Am is a be verb. Then in the second example, she did not go to school yesterday. Here did is a do verb. And in the third example, they have completed the work. Have in this example, the verb have completed. We have the verb have completed. Here have is a have verb. Okay. Then next we are going to see about modal auxiliaries. The modal auxiliaries are as follows: will, would, can, could, shall, should, may, might, must, ought to, dare, need and used to. Now we are going to see about the difference between modal auxiliaries and main verbs. Modal auxiliaries depend on the main verb. They are used to make questions by inversion. For example, she will come tomorrow. And here we can make question uh, by inversion, that is, will she come tomorrow? Modal auxiliaries do not change in their forms with regard to person and number of the subject. They do not take infinitive forms, present and past participle forms. Now let us see about the uses of some of the modal auxiliaries. The modal auxiliaries can and could are used to express ability and permission. Example, I can speak Hindi. Here the word can indicates ability. In the next example, I could swim. Here the modal auxiliary could refers to the past ability. Third example, can I have your pen? Okay, here can indicates permission, which is used in informal context. And in the next example, could you please give me your eraser? So here the word could is used to indicate permission, that to polite request. It is used to make a polite request. Okay. Then the next auxiliary verbs are may and might. May and might are used to express possibility. Example, it may rain today. She may come today. They might win the match. The modal auxiliaries will, shall and would are used to indicate intention. Examples, I will inform you tomorrow. We shall go there next week. The modal auxiliary should is used to express obligation or duty. Example, you should obey the traffic rules. We should not talk loudly here. Must is used to indicate necessity. Example, you must save money for the future. The modal auxiliary ought to is used to indicate advice or probability. Example, you ought to be more attentive in the class. Next, we are going to see about the use of the modal auxiliary need to. The modal auxiliary need to is usually used in the negative form. Example, you need not, you don't need to write again, or you need not write again. The modal auxiliary dare to is usually used in negative and interrogative sentences. Example, she didn't dare to speak against her husband. How dare you wrote to me like that? The modal auxiliary used to is used to denote past action. Example, I used to swim when I was at school. So it indicates the past activity or past action which is no longer in use now. I hope this is clear to you all. Thank you for your attention. If you like the video, drop a like, share and subscribe for more videos. Meet you in the next series. Thank you.